Hi, I'm the Red Lady and welcome to Episode 8 in my Shamanic Witchcraft 101 series. Today I'm going to talk about clairaudience. So first of all, clairaudience is clear hearing, or more specifically, the clear hearing of spirit. So with clairaudience, you will actually hear sounds generated from the spirit realm. And it is a little different to physical hearing because clairaudient hearing, even though it's generated from the spirit realm, the sound itself comes from within. Now, I find clairaudience to be the most interesting of all the psychic senses because it's probably the most difficult psychic sense to align yourself with. People who have fully developed their clairaudient abilities are quite rare. For myself, it does have a tendency to come and go, so I don't rely on clairaudience as my first port of call personally. But why is it a rare thing? Well, this is probably due to the stigma associated with hearing voices or sounds that other people cannot hear. And in the everyday world, that's generally considered to be a sign of serious mental health issues. And to be fair, if anyone watching this has experienced clairaudience on a random occasion, when you wasn't expecting it, or maybe you never knew what clairaudience was at that point, then, it can be quite a distressing experience. So, developing clairaudience really does make you question your own sanity. And for that reason, I think the development of this psychic sense is sometimes avoided by people generally. Lots of people are open to wanting to develop clairvoyance or clairsentience or other psychic senses, but clairaudience, that tends to be the one sense that people are not as keen to explore. And it's completely understandable because, clairaudience is not everyone's cup of tea. So let's dive a little bit deeper into what it is that people actually experience when working with spirit on a clairaudient level. Now, this experience is going to differ from person to person. It doesn't always mean that you are going to hear voices or even one specific voice. Having said that, many clairaudients do report that they hear voices of a variety of disembodied spirits, and some say that they only hear one voice, and that would be the voice of their main spirit guide. But it doesn't always work like that. Spirit will, for the most part, come through with completely random non-verbal sounds. Sounds that convey a specific message, such as the sound of seagulls on the beach, or the sound of a baby laughing, or the sound of fairground noises. And those sounds may or may not come through with a clairvoyant image that matches the sound. And as I explained in my last 101 video, you then have to interpret what that means to you. And so symbolism is still important here, even with clairaudience. So the people who have a predominantly clairaudient sense are generally, but not always, more in tune with music and have a very good musical ear. So, and they tend to think a lot in terms of sound, and sound is more likely to be a highly important aspect of their lives. So these people could be musicians or maybe work with sound in some other way. Their physical hearing tends to be extremely sensitive, and they don't like random loud noises or brash noises or any kind of noise disturbance. For example, if there are roadworks near the home, or there is building work going on somewhere, or someone who lives close by who likes to leave their car engine running for longer than necessary. While these things can be irritating to anyone, to a clairaudient, it can affect them deeply and potentially ruin the whole flow of their day. And so quiet time and quiet spaces are highly important to a predominantly clairaudient person. So spirit can also convey specific messages in the form of music, lyrics and rhymes, where the lyrics of a song have the potential to be a direct message. And you'll find yourself with a certain tune or a song in your mind that just won't go away, and you've not heard that song for years, and spirit can sometimes do that. In fact, a lot of people experience this but don't really pay much attention to it. And I'm not talking about when you have a song stuck in your mind because you heard it on the radio, yesterday or whatever. I'm talking about lyrics from songs that you haven't heard perhaps since you were a child, or a song that you sang at school maybe, and it randomly pops into your head for no reason at all. All you need to discern whether you're getting a message from spirit or not in this way is to, use your own intuition along with a small dose of common sense. Then accept the message for what it is and give thanks, and then move on with your day. And I think it's very important to do this because nothing good ever comes from spending too much time obsessing over a message. So accept the message, give thanks, and move on. So to anyone who is interested in developing their clairaudience skills, I would say you need to have lots of patience and nerves of steel. And I say that because, you can practice and practice and practice. And then depending on how in tune you are with this sense, when you do get something come through, such as a voice, for instance, no matter how much you've expected it, it does have the capacity to completely freak you out. Now, I remember about 20 years ago, I was having a lie down, and all of a sudden, from nowhere, this extremely loud man's voice says, "Hello," in a Cockney London accent. And I must have shot up about 3 feet in the air, and I ran out of that room faster than the flash, because I just wasn't expecting it. So, it can take you by surprise and catch you off guard. And for this reason, I say that you need to be firmly grounded in your sense of self before attempting to develop this sense. For some people, it's as natural as a duck on water. But for others, it can be a tricky sense to deal with, I think. So for a beginner, having quiet space to practice is absolutely essential. And if things are not as quiet as you'd like them to be, as we can't always control what's going on outside the house or even inside sometimes, a pair of earplugs to block out any disturbances can be really useful. Simple practices for a beginner would be to get into your quiet space and follow your usual routine of grounding and protection, and to practice imagining various specific sounds such as a baby laughing, or pretend you're in the countryside standing in a field. What does that sound like? Then switch to the city sounds you might hear as you sit outside a busy cafe with a coffee. What can you hear? You're at the beach. What can you hear? So it's also good to take note as you are doing these exercises whether you are getting other psychic senses creeping in as well. As you hear the seagulls at the beach and the sound of children chattering as they build sandcastles, are you getting a visual picture along with that? Or can you feel a warm breeze on your face? Or can you smell ice cream or the sea air? So as you develop one sense, you may find your other senses may also begin to work in unison. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I also have a video on developing clairvoyance. If you haven't seen it, the link is in the description box. Please do subscribe and share, and feel free to check out my other videos or playlists. I am the Red Lady, and I will see you soon.